Warm rain over the city. April in Portland was special. The air smelled of wet bark, moss, and fresh bread from hidden bakeries nestled between colorful facades. The city lived in the arms of rain that never fell with thunder, just drizzled, like a memory, like a touch, like a suggestion. Claire wasn't from Portland, originally from Boston. She had moved here after her divorce, seeking a new rhythm, a slower one. 34 years old, she worked as an editor in a small indie publishing house, lived in a creaky old house with a ginger cat named Marmalade. She had her habits. Vanilla oat milk coffee at Coava, the number 14 bus, a window seat, a podcast in her ears. Her days ran like a Swiss watch, precise, predictable, almost sterile. Until that evening, the bus stopped sharply to avoid hitting a cyclist. A man with a backpack, who had just stepped in, stumbled and fell against her. "Oh God. Sorry," he blurted out, quickly getting back up. "Not me. That was the brakes. And maybe gravity." Claire smiled, still holding her hot cup of coffee. "It's okay. Lucky you're not wearing my cappuccino." He took the empty seat beside her and wiped wet hair from his forehead with his sleeve. "I'm Eli," he said, a bit awkwardly. "Claire," she replied, and the silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was curious. Eli turned out to be a photographer and a landscape designer. He designed backyard gardens for private homes. His work had been featured in local magazines, though he didn't brag. He lived without Instagram, carried an old flip phone, and always had a film camera in his backpack. There was something retro about him, in the best way. Their first encounters were random, a few more rides on the same bus, then bumping into each other at a bookstore, then at a photo exhibit. He never called it a date, just offered walks, old record stores, jazz in the park, or watching the sunset from Mount Tabor. Claire, used to plans and boundaries, kept her distance at first. But being with Eli was easy. He didn't push. He was just there. Warm, slow, unassuming like Portland itself. She liked the way he was quiet, the way he looked at trees, the way he laughed at simple things, and how he never tried to win her, just showed up when it mattered. One morning, Claire woke up and didn't get her usual message from Eli. It wasn't alarming, but something felt off. He disappeared for 3 days, no calls, no texts, no coffee at the usual spot. She felt vulnerable, not because of fear, but because she missed him. On the 4th day, Eli showed up. No grand explanation, just standing on her porch, holding a cup of coffee. "Sorry, my dad's in the hospital. It all came fast. I didn't want to drag you into it. Just wasn't ready to talk to anyone." She silently took the cup from his hand, sipped, and hugged him. It wasn't the kind of hug that says, "Forgive me." It was the kind that says, "I'm here." By October, Eli stayed at Claire's more than his own place. Her toothbrush had found a home in his travel bag. His aftershave lived in her bathroom now. They weren't calling it living together, but it already was. Morning routines, quiet dinners, shared dishes, and yes, disagreements. "You left the window open again," Claire said after work. "It's freezing in here. Fresh air is healthy. You always feel cold." Eli replied from the kitchen. "Because you're probably a bear." That was the first fight that didn't feel like flirting. Silence lingered. Not painful, just tight. Then he came over, wrapped her in a blanket, and whispered, "I'm just not used to needing to be warm for someone else. But I'll learn." She smiled. Love wasn't about perfection. It was about earning how to stay. For Christmas, he gave her a garden, tiny one, in wooden crates, on the balcony. "It's you," he said, "a little wild, a little warm. Everything grows at its own pace. No rush." Claire nurtured herbs, flowers, even a little lemon plant. Every morning, she opened the window to check on them, to see how things changed slowly, but surely. They didn't make declarations. There were no rings in champagne glasses. But on Friday nights, their kitchen smelled of cinnamon, and someone always tuned the radio to jazz. One night Claire said, "I don't know what's next, but I want to be here while it grows." Eli replied, Sometimes love isn't a grand explosion. It's just a garden you ember to water. When Eli was offered a major project in Seattle, he hesitated. It was prestigious, a botanical garden, his dream. But it meant 6 months away. No morning coffee. No shared routines. No Claire. When he finally told her, she went quiet. "This is a big chance," she said. "A real one. But I don't want to leave you. And I don't want to be the reason you stay." That night, they sat in silence on the balcony. Rain tapped gently above them. "What if we don't make it through the distance?" she asked. "What if we do?" he answered. She realized she wasn't afraid to lose him. She was afraid of holding him too tight and losing herself. The 6 months were hard. Not because of trust, but because video calls couldn't replace small daily things. The touch of a hand, a shared laugh over breakfast. But they endured. Claire sent him postcards with notes from her days. Eli sent photos of exotic plants and early sketches from the project. They learned to be present without being near. In August, Eli returned, tanned, a little thinner, carrying a box of seeds. "I couldn't not come back," he said, placing his hand on her chest. "This is my root system now." A year later, they rented a small house on the south side of Portland, with a real garden and a big kitchen. They never got married, didn't feel the need, but every Saturday smelled of cinnamon rolls, and someone always played old records while brewing coffee. Claire published her first book, How Not to Lose Love in Silence. It was a novel, but those who knew her could read Eli between the lines. He opened his own studio, small, tucked between mossy trees. He created gardens for others, but the best one was always hers. Love isn't just, "How do you love me?" It's, "What do you do with yourself while I'm gone?" It's lemon tea when words are too much. It's a garden that grows not when everything is perfect, but when there's rain, shadow, and the patience to wait. They had that garden, and they never forgot to water it.